Howdy y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am here today to give you guys your direct sow vegetable crop list for the month of September for your North Texas vegetable garden. There is a ton of stuff that can be direct sown directly into your growing spaces this month here in North Texas because temperatures are finally becoming a little bit more comfortable. And we're getting into some cooler nights and some cooler days, which makes a lot of other vegetable crops super happy to grow in. So let's go ahead and get started with that list. All right, if you are continuing on from your direct sowing from August up until September the 15th, you can still direct sow bush beans and pinto beans. So for bush beans, they're an easy to grow compact plant that are often utilized as green beans, as you can see here by this packet. They're ideal candidates for container gardening, and they also grow well in raised beds and in-ground spaces. Most varieties reach maturity in 50 to 60 days, so you'll want to plant these early in the month to ensure a harvest by the first frost that usually happens in mid-November here in North Texas. Popular varieties for North Texas include Blue Lake, Dragon's Tongue, and Contender. Now, pinto beans, I don't have any seed packets for, but can either be bush or pole varieties. Now, unfortunately, if you're planting pinto beans in the month of September, you're only going to be able to utilize them as a snapping green bean. You won't be able to utilize them as a shelling bean to then become like the pinto beans that we know and love. The bush varieties of pinto beans are container friendly. The pole varieties can be container friendly if it is a rigid structure that you can provide trellising for. Otherwise, you'll want to put it into a raised bed or in ground with some sort of climbing structure. Popular varieties of pinto beans for North Texas include the Pinto 3 and the Luna. Continuing on with crops that you could have direct sown in August but can continue to direct sow here in September. By September 30th, you are going to want to go ahead and get your Swiss chard direct sown. I don't have any seed packets that have pictures on them, but Swiss chard is a leafy green that can actually perennialize here in Texas. It can be grown in containers, raised beds, or in-ground containers. In-ground gardens, so you can pretty much plant it anywhere that you have space for it. Swiss chard typically reaches maturity in 50 to 60 days, but the baby leaves can be harvested at around 30 days. So popular varieties of Swiss chard to grow here in North Texas include Bright Lights, Ford Hook, and Ruby Red. Some other crops that you could have direct sown in August and can continue to direct sow in September all the way into October include some radishes. So radishes, of course, are a fast growing root vegetable, often reaching maturity as early as 24 days. Some varieties can take a little bit longer, like the daikon that takes about 60. The compact varieties can be planted anywhere and tucked between crops as a companion plant. Daikon radish needs raised beds or in-ground spaces because it has a long taproot. Popular varieties of radish to grow here in North Texas include this Cherry Belle, Easter egg mix, and watermelon. The next root vegetable that you can direct sow the entire month of September and into October is going to be turnips. Now, turnips are a versatile root vegetable that are often used like a potato. The inspiration for modern day jack-o'-lanterns comes from the turnip, as old Irish traditions would put lit embers inside hollowed out turnips. So I thought that was a pretty cool bit of history. The leafy green tops are also edible, and they're prepared similarly to collard greens. So if you're in the South, you're probably familiar with collard greens. You can do the same thing with turnip greens. Most varieties of turnips reach maturity in 40 to 60 days, but if you want to harvest younger turnips at like the radish size, those can be harvested at around 30 days. Turnips can be planted in deeper containers, in raised beds, and in the ground. Popular varieties include Purple Top White Globe, White Egg, and Golden Ball. My very favorite fall and winter vegetable to grow in the garden can be planted in the month of September, and that is collard greens. Collard greens are a nutritious leafy green that are a southern staple. They're easy to grow and frost tolerant, and they make a striking addition to the garden. They reach maturity in 60 to 80 days. However, you can harvest the younger leaves if you want like a more tender leafy green. They can be grown in larger containers, raised beds, and in-ground spaces, and popular varieties include Georgia Southern, Alabama Blue, and Variegated. You can direct sow this next vegetable all through September and into October, and that's going to be lettuce. So lettuce, of course, it can be a fast-growing leafy green that is perfect for growing in small spaces, raised beds, and in the ground. Loose leaf varieties reach maturity as soon as 30 to 60 days, but those heading types can take up to 100 days. So make sure you read that seed packet and try to pick something with kind of a smaller days to maturity window. Some varieties are frost tolerant and some are not. So you'll also want to read the information on the packet as well for that to determine if it's going to be right for, you know, planting within your space. Popular varieties of lettuce to grow here in North Texas include Oak Leaf, Little Jim, and Butter Crunch. Right, another leafy green that can be direct sown in the month of September and into October here in North Texas is going to be kale. Now, kale is a nutritious leafy green with versatility in the kitchen. It grows well in containers, raised beds, and in-ground spaces. It tastes better in, it tastes better in colder temperatures, and it is frost hardy. It typically reaches maturity in 50 to 70 days, but you can harvest the baby leaves at an earlier period if you would like to. And popular varieties for North Texas include Red Russian, Lacinato, and Red Boar. Right, the last leafy green that can be direct sown into your gardens in the month of September here in North Texas is going to be spinach. Spinach is nutritious and versatile, however it is not heat tolerant. So if you're going to direct sow it into your growing space this month, try to find like a partial shade location so that it does not overheat, because in September it can still be quite warm. It grows well in containers, raised beds, and in-ground spaces. Reaches maturity in 55 days, but this is another one where you can harvest the baby greens and let it continue to keep growing. Popular varieties for North Texas include Bloomsdale, Crocodile, and Space. Right, so that wraps up those crops that you could have direct sown in August and, you know, kept it going through September. Now we're going to talk about some crops that you begin direct sowing in September and likely end in September. So from September 1st through September 15th, you can direct sow English or French peas and snap peas or snow peas. So I don't have any seed packets of English peas here, so I'll just talk about it without showing you guys. English peas are also known as garden peas or sweet peas. The canned peas at the grocery store, those are the English peas. The pods themselves are inedible. The peas are removed from them in order to be eaten. They grow best in cooler temperatures and they are not heat tolerant. They're ready to harvest in 50 to 70 days. Some varieties of English peas require trellising. There are some compact varieties that are container friendly. Popular varieties for North Texas, if you decide to take the plunge into English peas, are going to be Wando, Little Marble, and Green Arrow. So snap peas and snow peas can also be direct sown until September 15th here in North Texas. Snap peas are a hybrid of English peas and snow peas. So they're going to have like a puffy pod, and snow peas are going to have a very flat pod. They're known for their sweet flavor and crisp texture. They are popular in stir fries. You can also steam, kind of saute with some garlic and oil and salt and pepper, or you can just eat them raw with like hummus or ranch dip, or just as a snack while you're out working in the garden. Most of the varieties will require trellising because they are a vining type plant. Snap peas reach maturity in 50 to 70 days. Snow peas reach maturity in 60 to 70 days, so they take a little bit longer. Popular varieties of snap peas include Sugar Snap, Sugar Daddy, and Cascadia. And then popular varieties of snow peas to grow here in North Texas include Oregon Sugar Pod 2, Avalanche, and Golden Sweet. All right, throughout the entirety of September, from September 1st through September 30th, you can direct sow beets here in North Texas right into your garden. Beets are a nutrient-dense root vegetable. They're known for their earthy flavor and bright colors. You can use them raw, roasted, boiled, juiced, pickled, and fermented. They can be grown in containers if the container is at least 12 inches deep. Otherwise, they also grow well in raised beds or in-ground spaces. They reach maturity anywhere from 50 to 70 days, and popular varieties for North Texas include Detroit Dark Red, Kioja, and Detroit Golden. The next crop type that can be direct sown into your gardens in the month of September from the 1st through the 30th here in North Texas is going to be carrots. Carrots are a versatile root vegetable that comes in a rainbow of colors. They can be utilized raw in soups, stews, salads, roasted sides, and fermented, and even in desserts. They can be grown in deeper containers, raised beds, and in-ground gardens. They will reach maturity anywhere from 50 to 80 days. That's just dependent upon the variety. And popular varieties to grow in North Texas include Royal Chantenay, Scarlet Nantes, and Danvers 126. Now, one note about carrots is they can take quite a while to germinate, anywhere from 14 to 21 days. So if you do direct sow them, make sure you keep your soil consistently moist and just be patient. They're not gonna pop out of those seeds right away and start growing for you. And then the last crop type that can be direct sown in the month of September into your gardens here in North Texas, I don't have a seed packet for because I don't actually grow it, is parsnips. So parsnips are a root vegetable resembling a carrot with a sweet, nutty, earthy flavor. They're often utilized roasted, mashed, or in soups and stews. You can grow them in deep containers, raised beds, or they're even in-ground garden friendly. They reach maturity in 90 to 130 days, so they're a little bit slow growing and they take a long minute to get where they're going. And popular varieties to grow here in North Texas are going to be Harris Model, All-American, and Cobham Marrow. But that's all of the different vegetable crops that you can direct sow into your garden in the month of September here in North Texas. If you found this video helpful and informative, please like, subscribe, comment, and do all those different YouTube-y things. Otherwise, until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!